Hello, everyone. You are welcome to Anchor Network, where you get reliable and authentic news that are so crucial to you. I say big thank you to everyone who has been part of this channel and who has taken time to subscribe. And if you are yet to subscribe, I say please click the red subscribe button and also the bell icon. The bell icon will allow you to get notified anytime we publish any news. The Nigerian government has made two major demands from South Africa in the aftermath of xenophobic attacks in the country. The businesses of many Nigerians in South Africa have been destroyed, looted, or burnt in the past week since xenophobic attacks resumed in the country against foreign nationals. Before the latest incident, many Nigerians have also been killed in suspected xenophobic attacks by South Africans. Speaking to journalists after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, Nigeria's Foreign Minister Godfrey Onyema said Nigeria had made two major demands from South African government. He said a special envoy sent by President Muhammadu Buhari to South Africa will focus on the two issues. It is just those two key issues: the compensation payments and what security mechanism be put in place to make sure that these kinds of attacks do not recur, the minister said. An interview with Mr. Oyema had with journalists. The first question he was asked is that, what have you to say over xenophobic attacks on Nigerians by South African citizens? And he said, we have registered a strong protest to the government of South Africa, but most importantly, we have put forward to the South African government what we think will make a big difference. One, with regard to compensation with those who have suffered loss, and most importantly, a security proposal that we believe will safeguard the country of Nigerians in the future. So what are you hoping to see in South Africa in terms of security? Oyema said, we are hoping to see the possibility of sending some security agents, deploying them initially in the Nigerian High Commission to work closely with the South African police force. We believe that would be a very important process to address and preempt this kind of attacks, and possibly for them to also be embedded within the police force of South Africa. So you will have some certain number of Nigeria security people trying to work with South African police force. Is there likely to be a reciprocal effect in the event that the South African government did not cooperate? Oyema said, we don't believe that two wrongs make right. I think in terms of revenge on those kinds of attacks is not what we are looking forward to. The South African government has assured us that they are doing everything possible to address the situation, that they are equally surprised by the whole events. We believe that we believe with that we believe with that goodwill we may be able to work together to put in place these mechanisms that will make a difference. The special envoys will be leaving for South Africa. What will be the key issues that would be discussed with their presidents? And he said it is just those two key issues: compensation payments and what security mechanism be put in place to make sure that these kinds of attacks do not recur. We need to have a viable mechanism in place. Like I have said, one of the possibilities that we are proposing is to have some Nigerian security operatives working with the South African police and attached to the Nigeria High Commission in South Africa. So guys, you've heard the response of a Nigerian government, most especially from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Oyema, Geoffrey Oyema, and he said they are demanding two things from South African government. First is, for compensation for those who have lost a lot, and again, a security mechanism to be put in place. That is what is talking about. The Minister of Foreign Affairs saying those are the things that they have put off for the South African government. But the issue is that this thing is not really happening now. It's not just starting now. It started, for a very long time. It has started at least, in recent times we've experienced like at least 4 or 5 incidents as regards to this xenophobic. So what were the things that the government, Nigerian government, have been putting in place, or what have they been discussing with the South African government that has really led to this, and what they have been putting in place, or what they have been discussing with them, and it has never yielded any results. So like now, okay, if you say let them be compensated, fine. And security, does it mean they want to attack? Okay, Nigerian security, you want to post them to South Africa to be able to monitor the whole thing, or to be able to work with a South African government or police, as he has said. Is that going to solve the whole issue? If you think these are the things that you think that will be able to solve the problem, so what were the things that you have done before? Because most times Abike Dabire, is always coming out to say this and that, and no result. Everybody will blow hot air, and at the end of the day, nothing will happen. It's like these guys are taking us for a ride. And what we have seen now, there's a kind of reprisal going on in Nigeria, and people are like, oh, telling Nigerians, you don't need to even destroy ourselves, need to go and be destroying their whatever. But because people are being pushed to the wall, and you don't expect them to be folding hands, because our government have not been doing enough. Just like I said, what were the measures put in place before now? Because it has occurred close to 5 times in the recent times. If those things, if what you were discussing with them, and they never taken it serious, then how do you think that these 2 measures, or these 2 demands you are making to them, they will be able to take it serious and make it more effective? Because with these 2 demands, in my opinion, it might not hold water. It might not hold water, because from the South African people, from their quarter, even from one of the high-placed people in South Africa, they are coming out to say it's not a xenophobic attack. It's just like they are just people fighting against the foreigners, which is really, really far from that. They are being diplomatic about it. I don't even know what they are preaching to their people, what kind of rhetorics they are sending to their people. Some people are of the opinion that, some of the political party or politicians are the ones selling these rhetorics to their people. Oh, because they have not been able to create jobs, they have not been able to create wealth in that country. So, a kind of a way of escape. They just try to sell that rhetorics to them, and that's why they are being angry. And most importantly, if we say this thing, this xenophobic attack is happening in South Africa, from what we have gathered, it's not really happening in the whole South Africa. I think there's a particular area that this kind of a thing is happening, because when you call people, they will like, this kind of a thing is not even happening in my area. It has never happened in my area. So we believe that it's happening in some, few areas, that anything that happens, they will just get agitated, and before you know it, things will escalate, fight here and there. So why is it that the government of South Africa is not able to curtail those number of people, or that particular area where that incident is always coming from? I don't know if really that is the actual truth, but people will tell you that in my area in South Africa, such things are not really happening. So it's like this: the government of South Africa, they are just playing to the gallery, just playing lip service to the whole issue. And our country too, they are not helping matter, because so to me, with these 2 demands, he's not going to hold water. Because if you are just bringing these 2 demands just for them to be compensated, and people are being killed, and for you to have our own security force that will work with the South African government or South African police, is that one going to work? What How far can they go? How far can they go with that? How far will our security, our police be able to go, with that? I don't know whether it is they are talking of taking our police from here to that place, or from to assign their own police to our High Commission in South Africa. Whichever way, to me, it's not going to still work, because it's not going to hold water. The thing they are supposed to do is far beyond that. I don't know the kind of drastic action they are going to take. And you see our people, fighting back in Nigeria. Our people are like, oh, the people fighting back, or the people trying to go and be burning MTN office, shop price, looting, that you are doing a disservice to yourself, because most of the people in that place, they are Nigerians. That is just the kind of franchise that some of Nigerians are even the owner of that place. They just, because those companies are South African countries. It's just a kind of franchise, and at the end of the day, you see that the place or those places are really being, are owned by Nigerians. Good and fine if that's the case, but when you push people to the wall, they will behave irrational, and that is what we are seeing, because our government, they have not really taken a decisive position on this matter, because it has happened over and over again and nothing has been happening. It's just like they will say, oh, we condemn this action, we condemn this action, we condemn this, we are not happy with it. And the same thing from that end, from South Africa to the government, will like, oh, they condemn the action. Every time we condemn the action, and people continue to do that. People that are being involved in this violence, in this attack, have they been arrested in the first place? Because if some people or one person, has been arrested and be made to pay for what he has done, I'm sure it's going to serve as a lesson to others. They will not want to involve in that, because if the South African government also deal with their people, that if you do this kind of a thing, it's not going to, you are not going to get it funny. It's not going to be, tea party. But I'm sure they are just leaving them, because from what we've heard, some of the politicians, they are selling these rhetorics to their people, because they have not been able to create jobs. They have not been able to create wealth for their people. So a way to just, for the people or for the masses not to look at their own end, for the fact that maybe they have made mistake or they are not doing the right thing. And that's why this whole thing, whichever way that is, that's the problem, where the problem is coming from, they should be able to deal with this, because people are dying and it's not giving them good name. We have a lot of whites that are holding a lot of things, a lot of juicy position and a lot of things in that country. They are not channeling their anger towards those white people there, but your fellow blacks, you are, trying to intimidate them. I don't know what they are going to get at the end of the day. But of course, you can't blame the people if the government is not doing the right thing, if the government is not taking drastic action. We've had, Zimbabwe, one of these African countries, there's a kind of football they want to play there, and they said they are not going to go if really, this is what's going to be happening, because this thing is not really happening to Nigerians alone. Other African, countries in that country, they are dealing with them. The reason why Nigeria own is just so loud is that because we have the numbers, because we are so popular, because we are big. So whatever that is happening, the first contact will be Nigeria. The first thing, it will be on Nigeria. That is why, it's just like it's more. Of course, most of them, the numbers of Nigerians there will be more than any other African countries in that country. So that is just my own opinion. The both governments, they are just playing lip service to all of these things. And when the thing, escalates more than this, that's why every one of them will not be running a task. But they don't need to wait until things get deteriorated, to that extent. It's already deteriorated. So how can they be able to put everything together with these two demands? In my opinion, I'm not sure it's going to hold water, because before now, you guys have been holding meeting, going back and forth with all of these things. So guys, I would like to hear from you what you think about these two demands that the federal government, demanding from South African governments, that first they need to be compensated, and this issue of tightening the security. If you think it's going to work, does it mean they've not been having security in that country? And this kind of a thing, keep repeating itself. Please leave your comments below in the comment section. Thank you very much. Bye.